Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Vikshepa Shakti Rajasah Kriyatmika Yatah Pravurti Prasruta Purani Ragadayosya prabhavanti nityam Dukkhadayo ye manaso vikaraha. So this Rajoguna, it affects our lives very deeply. It is in the form of the attachment to work, the addiction to work. We see this happening in people. They get addicted to work. And also what happens is we start deriving the sense of self from work. Like if you ask a person, who are you? He says, I am a doctor. I am an engineer. So he derives his sense of self from the work he does, the profession. The work the person does, that determines the self. Therefore, instead of deriving the sense of self from the knowledge, you derive the sense of self from the work. That is the delusion caused by Rajoguna. See, these are all very important things in life. And we need to pay attention to some of these fundamentals correctly. You see, there is a thing called the confusion between doing and being. So, doing is incidental, being is the self. But the Rajoguna makes us believe that the self is the doing. Doing determines the self. That is how it happens. And therefore, we find people, they want to do. Chikirshavaha, they want to do. They don't want to know. This is one important problem with the Rajoguna. Also, you see, this delusion could be very deep-rooted. Like you see, you go to university. What is it that you acquire there? So we say knowledge. But then, if you examine it carefully, you don't acquire knowledge there. You acquire skill, not knowledge. Suppose you join an engineering course. You acquire a skill to repair a machine or to make a machine or to run a machine. That kind of a skill you get. That is the engineering. And then if it is the medicine, very similar thing. You acquire the skill to run the machine called the body and to repair it as and when it requires repairment and to make improvements also. That is the skill. It is not knowledge. Knowledge, you don't get knowledge in university. But now what happened is, what you get in the university is called knowledge. And therefore the real knowledge goes a-begging. So, and then you go to university, acquire a skill. Acquire a degree means acquire a skill. And then you get employed because of that skill. I'm not saying anything against all that. All that is required as part of life. But that is not your true self. That is the point. But because of the Rajoguna, all of that is taken as the true self. And therefore, this happens in the religion also. In the religion, the true self is taken as a doing, and therefore people, the performance of rituals is considered the life's goal. And so the more and more rituals you perform, that is what myself is, the karta bhokta. This is all the play of Rajoguna. And generally, when we look at these things, though we read a verse and all that, we examine the life, the human existence, in the light of the wisdom that is thrown up by the verse. Verse is only that much. Verse is like it puts light. It throws light upon human existence. And we study the human existence. That is how you have to study. Therefore, when we say a doctor, a physician, a teacher, you see, in Germany, if you want to open a barber shop, you have to go to the technology university and get a degree there, a bachelor's degree. Then only a barber shop can be opened. Otherwise, you cannot open a barber shop. And therefore, so if you go to the technical university, there you will have a course, BS hair cutting. Like that, there will be a course, a 4-year course. And then they join. Now, you see, in this country, in this country also it started BA, BR, BS, home decoration. What is home decoration? That is a course. And so you study home decoration. And cooking. Cooking a course, 4 years course. Hotel management is a course. These are all degrees. Are they knowledge or are they skill of a particular job? What are they? They are not knowledge. Teacher. So you teach mathematics. It's a skill. There may be, you see, what you call karma will have knowledge and what you call knowledge will have karma. Where is the focus? That is what I am talking. And therefore, knowledge we have yet to gain. Only we have gained a skill. And got a degree, got a skill, and we offer ourselves for employment, and some employer takes us, and we make money. And once you are employed, you are ready to get married, and then children, and then bring them up the way we were brought up. So, gatanugatiko lokaha. This recycling of life goes on and on and on, with some modifications here and there. Ultimately, this is how the Rajoguna is the biggest bondage in people's lives. Kriyatmika, that is one thing. Then Vikshepa Shaktihi. This Vikshepa Shaktihi here, you must have noticed a simple Sandhi rule. Vikshepa Shaktihi plus Rajasaha. So you get Vikshepa Shakti Rajasaha. E comes. Very simple rule, you must be knowing it. Shaktihi Rajasaha. So it becomes a Shaktir Rajasaha. Then a Rori, the Rafa will go away. Shakti Rajasaha. Then Dralope Purvasya Dirghonaha. The Anna gets a Dirgha. So Shakti Rajasaha. Very simple rule. But you should know, that's why I pointed out. This Vikshepa Shakti, you should know this. Vikshepa is a scattering. Vividham Kshepaha is the scattering. You see, this scattering of mind is a curse that we go through in modern societies. The scattering of mind. Mind is scattered in a variety of directions. And so the mind is flooded with a constant stream of sensations. You will be seeing this thing, then turn that side, see that, then see something else, see something else. Like that you will be constantly seeing things, and the sensations will be flooding into the mind. You will be hearing variety of things. So like that, what is called multitasking. So you turn the mind towards many things at the same time. Therefore, the mind is jumping from this to that, to that, to that, to that. Like that, it will be jumping. Even a monkey will be put to shame when you look at your mind. So, because the mind is scattered all over the place, thereby the mental noise increases multifold, manifold, it increases. And therefore, the stress levels will increase, and the life becomes very painful. People become sick psychologically and also physically. You see, you should know that all physical illness has its origin in the mind. All, without exception. So that's why it is called a psychosomatic illness. So it begins in the psycho mind and expresses in the body. Soma is the body. So all illness originates in the mind, all illness. And so it begins in the mind. And the mind becomes sick when it is hyperactive. In fact, hyperactivity of the mind is a sickness, it is. It is a disease. That you are not able to keep the mind quiet even for a short while is a disease. And the smartphone contributes a lot to this disease. The smartphone thing, people have to examine it. The smartphone in Sanskrit, it is called Karna Pishachaha. That is the name to go into it. It is the evil spirit hanging on to the ears. To the 1 ear only, mostly 1 ear. It is just hanging here. And the people are addicted to the smartphones. They are very badly addicted. Now already de-addiction centers are coming up. So I noticed already in the West and in South Korea particularly, there are de-addiction centers in Japan, and in Europe and the West, de-addiction centers are there. And now the trend is in some of the 5-star hotels in the West, like in California, etc., the room where internet is not available, the Wi-Fi you cannot get, that kind of a room costs more. Really. And then even more interesting than that, if you want to spend 5 days or 3 days in peace, they will take you by a helicopter and drop somewhere in the middle of the forest where you cannot access phone, Wi-Fi you cannot access, newspaper you cannot access, TV also is not available, but only food will be provided. And you take the food at appointed times and then spend time in peace and quietude. They charge very heavily for that, to take you away from all these distractions of the mind. Now, the point is, this vikshepa, the scattering of the mind, is a real problem. So I appeal to you, you please examine this. It is very important. You see, people have some problems of life. They suffer. Psychological problems are psychological issues, pain, suffering is there. And physical problems also crop up. And so people suffer, people are unhappy. But they want quick fix solutions. That is the problem. They want quick fix. So they go to some kind of a predicting guy. At least in Andhra Pradesh, where Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, all these people who predict the future, they are illiterates. They don't know anything. He did not pass BA. Had he passed BA, he would have gone for some other profession. He could not pass BA, and he doesn't know ABCD of Sanskrit, and therefore he takes up this profession. Illiterate. And now what more I can describe? I cannot throw an abuse at the person. I can only say this much. He is illiterate. From that you have to understand. And now you go to him. You are unhappy, you go to him. Why are you unhappy? You pick up a quarrel with your wife and go to that person. What will he know? He says some funny things, that your planets are this way, that some arrangement of this. The planets are to be arranged in some form or the other. When 9 of them are going round and round the sun all the time, so you cannot have a stable thing. It is constantly changing, and therefore he seems to be able to read all that, and he will tell, you perform this puja, your problem will be solved. Now, is that religion? Is that religion? Now today, the Hindu religion is defined by this illiteracy. This is illiteracy, it is. It is superstition. And this defines the religion. Come on, that is the monstrosity of ignorance. I cannot say more than that. And therefore you perform a puja and wait and hope that things will fall in place. Arey bhai, why do you do all that? Just go to your wife, open your heart and be loving. The problem will be resolved. If you can keep your ego aside, the problem is resolved then and there. It is always the clash of egos. If only you remove your ego from the scene, the problem is resolved then and there. If you keep your ego and the other person why the other person should take away the ego? So the other person also keeps the ego in place. Therefore now it becomes clash of egos. This is how we end up fighting with each other. In all relations it is like that. If only you are willing to take away your ego, all your problems are solved then and there. You need not take permission from the planets to remove your ego. All that is not necessary. So, this is the Rajoguna that keeps your ego very prominent. And so, these are all, you have to examine your mind. I would say, you find yourself in the bondage of samsara only because of inadvertence. You never paid attention to the movement of mind. And now you start paying attention to the mind, then the hyperactivity of the mind will come down. You must have noticed by now, whenever you pay attention or you watch the mind, whenever, the mind becomes quiet. Did you notice that? That is a miracle. Especially when people are suffering from the hyperactivity of the mind, which is a disease. Hyperactivity of the mind is a disease, and people are suffering from that. In that situation, this is simple, not even technique it is a simple vision it is. You watch the mind, step back from the mind and watch it, the mind becomes quiet. So now you know where is the key. It is in you. Therefore, you cannot allow the mind to remain hyperactive. It is a non-stop broadcasting station. That is the mind inside the head. It is not proper. There is a thing called silence of the mind. In fact, people only know the noisy mind. They do not know silent mind. There is a silent mind. Shri Krishna talks of yatha deepo nivatastho nengate sopama smurta. Like a small flame, lamp of flame. It remains stable, static, without moving, when there is no breeze around. Glowing but not moving at all, not flickering. Similarly, the mind remains silent, a silent mind. So there is a thing called silent mind. People are unaware of the silent mind because they have to fall asleep. Then only the mind becomes silent. And then the mind becomes such an inner tormentor that people need psychedelic drugs. And then the mind is like a wound-up spring and a very high energy state of a wound-up spring. Therefore, it won't unwind easily. The whole day it is active and active and active. And so now it is time to go to bed and sleep. It refuses to unwind. And therefore, people cannot sleep well. Assuming that he falls asleep, the sleep is very fitful, fitful sleep. Means it is not a deep sleep, not quality sleep. The mind wakes up again halfway and all kinds of dream kind of situation, it continues. And therefore you do not have the good sleep, what they call the delta sleep or whatever. You don't get it. You get a very fitful sleep. Therefore next day morning you wake up tired. You see? People wake up tired. You see, there is a thing called Monday morning syndrome. So what people do is they are tired by Friday evening because 5 days they work hard, which is fine. And so they are tired and so they need some relaxation. They can't hope to have relaxation at home. Can you believe it? They call it home, but that is not the place to relax. They have to run away from home, then only they can relax. Therefore, on Friday night, the entire traffic out of New York is choked with cars. The roads out of New York are choked with cars on Friday night. And a Sunday night, all the cars are returning from suburbs and distant places to New York. That direction, the traffic is jammed. So people run away from home and come back to the home night 8, 9, etc. after a heavy dinner and all that, and fall asleep in a fitful way. Next day morning they wake up, and so the working day begins. 5 days constant work, hard work it is, not easy. So, and therefore they take the car and drive and go to the workplace. In the process, there are a variety of accidents. So they make accidents, and therefore emergency rooms are filled with people, and then they get heart attacks. Monday morning they get heart attacks. So Monday morning all hospital emergency rooms are busy with these people. They all arrive in hospitals, heart attacks, and then even the crime rates are up Monday morning. The police stations are busy, so like that. Because everybody is like a heightened state of the mental activity that goes through in the weekend. So anyway, I am trying to present a picture where your mind is your inner tormentor. And generally examples are given in the extreme. That is the way to teach. Example is given the extreme. If example itself is very mild, the point will never be made. That's why we give examples in the extreme. I don't say our situation is that bad, but bad enough. May not be that bad that you need immediate psychiatric attention. It may not be that bad, but it is bad enough to mess up our lives. So I would recommend to examine this mind. Every single conflict that you have in life has its origin in an impure mind. Impure mind means Rajasic mind. Every single conflict has its origin there. And every single struggle, people struggle a lot. You see, struggle is not a sign of health, mental health. You are struggling within, that is not a sign of mental health. And you see, we come across some good-meaning people, and they take up some religious exercise, like I have to do japam. Okay, good. So how much I have to do? I have to finish 10 lakhs in 3 years. And therefore every day I have to do 12 malas. And therefore he will be struggling. Because 12 malas doing in a day may become too much. Therefore he will be struggling. Some of our Krishna devotees, they have a target of 16,000 per day. 16th number. Hare Krishna, they begin, and they say that 16,000 times they have to say per day. They will be having something hanging from the neck, a small bag, pouch, and put the hand in it, and they will be feverishly doing this. And on the dais also, when audience are there and people, when somebody is speaking, this man will be doing this. He cannot stop it, because if he stops it, by the nightfall, night 10 o'clock, he did not finish his 16,000. And they say you have to finish 16,000 and deposit into Vaikuntha account for the day. What a struggle it is. That kind of struggle is a sign of that is all Rajasic activity of the mind. Just because you are saying Hare Krishna, that doesn't become Sattvic or that doesn't become self-knowledge. That is still Rajasic. Because you are struggling, and it is a number, a goal, a target, and a repetition, very mechanical repetition. And unfortunately, I don't know, I hope you don't mind my making a comment of this kind. I am submitting for you to consider this kind of mechanical and repetitive meditation, repetitive chant. What is its value? We have to examine that. You say it has an esoteric value, adrishta phalam. Now, there is nothing to argue about it. In addition to that adrishta phalam, is there any other meaning in that. Or you are satisfied with Vaikuntha account. That is Adrushta Phalam. So you have to examine that. And anything repeated mechanically, that is the movement of Rajoguna. Rajasic movement it is. Their understanding is not there. Devotion, love, these things are not there. That's why it becomes mechanical. That's why I am saying mechanical. If those things are there, then that becomes very fulfilling. But it tends to be mechanical. There is the mechanism of automaton in the mind. And mind puts it on that automaton. So automatically it will be going on, like bicycling or whatever. And therefore, you mechanically repeat again and again and again. And you struggle to reach a target. And therefore now life becomes reaching the target all the time. Every day, day after day, year after year, it is always reaching the target. And therefore it is so much a stress on the system. And what is the target? Some mechanical repetition of some chant. Maybe chant is valuable, but mechanicalness and repetitiveness cannot be valuable. That is a problem. And then what happens, the mind becomes blunt. Dull it becomes. It can only do things of repetitive and mechanical nature. The creative intelligence that is essential for self-realization is out of the window. It will not be there. Therefore, I am not saying anything against japa. What is japa? How japa has to be done? You have to examine it. And what is the idea of target? Should we have a target at all? Should we have a number? Should we reach a number? Suppose we give up the number and the target, what kind of a quality will come to the japa? All those things people have to examine. They cannot go on mechanically like that. And so this is all the movement of Rajoguna, the scattering of the mind, Vikshepa Shakti. Just one more thing I will tell about Vikshepa Shakti. I say all these things because I love people. That's why I say. I want them to see and have a more comfortable mind and more quiet mind so that they can be happy. People have to become, that is the purpose of the whole study. I am not preparing any students of Vedanta. I am not doing that. I am not preparing any teachers. I myself am not a teacher. Where is the question of making teachers? That doesn't arise in my case. That is not my formula. I am not making teachers. I want to make people happy for themselves, by themselves, not from my side. How can I make you happy? You alone can make yourself happy. Therefore, you should know your mind well, in and out, through and through. You should know your mind. So that you will have a better mind, quieter mind, and you will be happy. And it is the movement of mind that causes so much suffering. And the thought breeds desires and fears. That is all Rajoguna. The movement of desire is all Rajoguna. And if I talk about desires, people resist it, as if they have understood the Shastra. So, desire is a movement of Rajoguna. You want it? You want to have it? Desire is the movement of Rajoguna. You want it or you want to move into Sattvaguna? What is it that you want? So, people have to think about it. So, just because a set of rituals are waiting, you cannot say desires are good. That is not the way to look at it. Anyway, therefore, one more aspect of this Vikshepa Shakti. There is a thing called multitasking. What is its value? Multitasking means you do multiple things at the same time. That is the multitasking. Like the classical examples that I can think of multitasking is, this guy, he has to reach office at 8 o'clock in New York example. He has to reach by 8 o'clock and he has to be punctual. He cannot go whenever he likes. And then he starts in the nick of the time he starts. Now he cannot delay even 1 minute. So he has to rush and rush. So, but he has to drink a cup of coffee. So holds the cup of coffee, sits inside in the car and starts it. And already the car is moving on, but he has not put belt yet. So he has to put the belt. In the meanwhile, the cell phone is ringing and he has to answer it. And now, so he holds the cell phone like this and struggling to put the belt like that and pulling the steering wheel and having the coffee also. It is becoming cold, he has to drink. This is called multitasking. One simple example of multitasking. People are crazy. That is why they do all this kind of multitasking. In Secunderabad, I see this while going to my class. So somebody gives me lift, and so I am watching the traffic and all that. So, do you want to see the most unruly traffic in the world? You go to Hyderabad and see. It is in YouTube, you need not go to Hyderabad. You type the most unruly traffic in the world. You type, and so one video comes, and that is the Hyderabad traffic. And so, while going, I watch this. So this young lady, she is crossing the road. Crossing the road in Hyderabad is a very dangerous proposition it is. It is a very big, it is very dangerous thing, because nobody will stop for you. All aggressive driving will be there. And so you have to cross in that. And there is a heavy traffic, and she is crossing the road. And she is hanging on to the shirt of her fiancé. And she is talking on the phone. And carrying a bundle something. And crossing the road. All these things she is doing at the same time. She should know better than that. First you cross the road cautiously. Then you stand and see the phone and answer. Then you hang on to the shirt of the fiancé. You do those things one after the other, you know. Don't do all of them together. Eh? So, this is multitasking. There is an argument. Multitasking increases productivity. Does it increase productivity? That is the argument. Now, recently, some 2-3 years back, Stanford University came out with a project. The economics department or whatever, some humanities department. So they have conducted research on that. They do a thorough job of it. They design the experiment, and so they give questionnaire to hundreds of people in different walks of life, different age groups, this and that, and finally collate all the data and then come out with the solution. Multitasking. I gave some silly examples. The computer people particularly, they have a lot of multitasking. On the screen itself, they can open 2 windows at the same time. One window this time, one window there. Like on the TV screen, you can watch 2 tennis matches going on at the same time. So how much what happened to this rally? Before you finish this rally, another rally is going on. Look at that side. Oh, what happened to the game here? But then that rally, who has won the point? Like that you will be jumping. And the computer people, they have 2 windows, and they will be working on this and then this, like that. A lot of multitasking they do. So this multitasking, in a very professional way, they do it. Does it produce more productivity? That is the research project. The answer is no. You do one job at a time and finish it and do the next job. Like that, how many jobs, whatever jobs you could finish by the end of the day, you do. Whatever you could. That is one kind of productivity. Do multitasking. That is another productivity. There is no difference between the two. You don't produce more by multitasking. In a focused style of working, where you focus on one thing at a time, by the end of the day, you are not fatigued. Whereas in multitasking, very soon, even before the day comes to a close, you get fatigued. Therefore, all of that multitasking is Vikshepa Shakti. Even in the kitchen, you should not engage in multitasking. You should do one thing after the other, Slowly you have to do. Not slowly, one after the other. At a moderate speed you have to do. That way you will be more productive. And mind also becomes quiet. And there will be no stress build up. So this is the Vikshepa Shakti. At the level of Ishvara also, there is this Rajoguna, because of which this universe has originated. That is how they present. You know how the universe has originated? So for the universe to originate, there must be an impurity in God. Because otherwise the Rajoguna is impurity. There must be impurity in the God. Then only the universe can come. Otherwise, why should he create? So he has a need to create, proves that he is incomplete then and there. Therefore, that itself is an avidya. That's why it is, the Shruti says, so kamayata, he desired. There is a desire in God. There is a desire. And so, out of that desire, the universe has come. The idea is, from the Maya Shakti, the universe has originated. That is the idea. Therefore, unless there is a movement in the form of desire, there cannot be creation. That's why, yataha, from which Rajoguna, in the form of the desire on the part of Ishvara, so Purani Pravrittihi Prasuruta, this ancient universe, coming from the time of creation, has originated. Therefore, the entire universe has originated from God because of Rajoguna. That is on the Ishvara's side. On the Jiva's side, Jiva is bound permanently or perennially in the flow of samsara because of the Rajoguna. Rajoguna playing a very destructive role in people's lives. So how does Rajoguna spoil our lives? How does Rajoguna make our lives very painful? That is being discussed in the second half. Asyaha nityam ragadayaha prabhavanti. You see, the word raga and the word rajas, they are indeed closely related, because ja and ga are interchangeable. Chohkuhu. Chavarga becomes kavarga, kavarga becomes chavarga at an appropriate situation. And then raj becomes, that a becomes dirgham, so it becomes raga. Very simple. And raj is Rajoguna, raj is raga. Very interrelated words they are. Therefore, from Rajoguna, raga happens. Raga dayaha, raga, etc. So, raga is always followed by dvesha. These are all the opposites, always pairs of opposites. In Puranic literature, this raga and dvesha are presented as the twin demons, like Chanda Munda. Chanda Munda is the two demons, raga and dvesha. Or Madhu and Kaitabha. Madhu Kaitabhari. Vishnu is the slayer of two demons called Madhu and Kaitabha. Madhu stands for raga, Kaitabha stands for dvesha. Even in Gita, where you see the word Madhusudana, Madhu, you should always put Kaitabha there. Madhusudana mane Madhu Kaitabha Sudana ityarthaha. That is Upalakshanam. And so the one who has eliminated or destroyed the demons called Madhu and Kaitabha. What are the demons? They are in your mind, I tell you. There are no other demons. Your mind is the worst demon. And the raga and dvesha, namely attachment and aversion, they are the two demons. They originate from the Rajoguna. Asyaha is Panchame Ekavachanam. From this Rajoguna arise attachment and aversion. You see, in life, we are attached to many things, many inanimate objects, physical objects we are attached to. It is a one-way traffic of love. So I love my diamond ring, but the diamond ring doesn't love me. It is a one-way traffic. This kind of one-way traffic is worthless, it is. And so people use the word love wrongly. So it is a lifeless object, and what is the fun of loving a lifeless object? It is not love. It is a mere attachment to a lifeless object. Such a silly object made of some metal called gold and a stone studded, fixed into it, a stone. So whatever stone is what? Suppose you are walking into your pair of shoes, so the stone enters. How painful it is. Stone is always like that. Somebody throws a stone at you, it will hit you and it will be painful. Suppose some stone comes in the food that you are eating, it is painful. Stone is always painful. Why do you want to put it into gold and wear it? Why do you want to do that? Stone is something which you have to put aside. You should not get attached to it. But people find a attachment to this stone. For what? So what is that? What is the rationale behind it? What is it? Do they know anything? That's why they are attached? No. They are just ignorant. That's why they are attached. So this attachment to lifeless objects. Like suppose you have a car. You should use the car for transporting the body from here to there, etc. And even you can give lift to some other people also. That way the car is put to good use. You cannot derive the sense of self from the car. So it's a BMW car, therefore I drive it and therefore I am superior. Now, what does it prove? What does it prove? I am superior because I am driving BMW car. Okay? It just proves this much, that intrinsically you are worthless. That is what it is, you know. Otherwise, because minus BMW car, you are worthless. And with BMW car, you are superior. So you admit, you take yourself to be worthless to begin with, and then you feel that your value has enhanced by possessing these silly things. So having a car for transporting from here to there, that is fine. But deriving the sense of self from the car is the worst form of ignorance it is. Absolute ignorance it is. There cannot be a darker ignorance than that. So this kind of attachment to physical objects, physical things, this is the curse of the social groups, peoples everywhere. It's a curse. And we Swamis or Sadhus, having given up, we claim that we have given up everything. And suppose we are attached to these physical things, now that becomes a huge contradiction, if not outright hypocrisy. Therefore, wherever it is, whether it is a family person or is a monk, wherever there is attachment, that is the sign of Rajoguna, and it is very bad. And that is attachment. You know what is attachment? Clinging to something, clinging. Not physical. Physically you can't cling to anything. You cannot cling to anything physically. Especially in the relations, you don't cling to anybody. You just say, hello, how are you? I am very glad to meet you. Have a nice time. Go ahead and have a cup of coffee. Like that, go to the kitchen and have a cup of tea. That means you go your way, let me go my way. That is how it, you don't cling to anybody. And even physical objects also. Suppose you say, I love my car. So what will you do? What will you do with the car now? Okay, sit before it and watch it. You see, suppose you say, I love the rose. Okay, you love the rose. Come, sit there. And I'll give you a bunch of roses. Now hold on to these roses. Watch them. Don't turn the head this way, that way. You have to watch it. How long? You watch for this whole day, you watch that only. Why? Because you love roses. You claim that you love roses. You watch it. You know what you will do? You watch it for 2-3 minutes, you will be fed up with those roses and throw them aside. So you are just imagining that I love roses. You don't love roses, you are just imagining. So that imagination, that delusion, it is a direct product of Rajoguna. You don't love roses. Somebody told, I love rose scent. Rose scent, you know, there is a perfume. Okay. Now it is very costly scent, it is, costly perfume. So I purchased it, spent 1,000 rupees and got it. Okay, come on, you sit now. And open it and put near, hold it, put your nose. Go on smelling it, that's it, that is all you have to do. Whole day you have to smell it. No, I cannot do that. Why not? You say you love a rose scent, do that. Therefore, You just examine it, you can prove to yourself that you are not attached to anything that you claim that you are attached to. You are making a wrong claim. You are just deluding yourself. This is self-hypnosis. You hypnotize yourself that you are attached to this, you are attached to that. Why this self-hypnosis? Because of the Rajoguna, and because of which you suffer a lot for no reason. You should not do that. You should understand that you are not attached to anything in real terms. You are just imagining. So, you see, when you cling to something, there is trouble. That is the law of nature. Now, you don't tell me about rituals, this and that. You don't understand the spirit of ritual even. So, don't tell me, I desire this, that ritual will help me to get it. You are just imagining. So don't treat God like as a corrupt police officer. That is not the way to treat God. And that is not the true religion. That is the religion followed by ignorant masses. Even the masses are following that religion because that ignorance is given to the masses by these religious leaders. I put the blame squarely at the door of the religious leaders. They mislead the masses. Otherwise, masses are simple people. So, anyway, therefore, the point I am trying to make is when there is a clinging, when you cling to something, there is trouble. There is trouble. You cannot avoid it. And in life, always it is the desire that creates a problem. Always it is like that. Once I was having a lot of inner agitation, always thinking about the same thing and getting frustrated, and then it occurred to me, why am I living like this? What is the reason for this inner turmoil? Then I sat and looked into myself. Why I am going through this turmoil? Why? Yeah, I am desiring that particular thing. And that thing is getting denied to me. I desire it and the other guy denies it to me. Now it is like keeping my hair in his head, in his hands. Because what I desire, he has to sanction to me. And now I am desiring it and he knew that I am desiring it. Therefore, he holds back. He or she holds back. And here I am boiling within. And the person, he knew my weakness, and so he holds back. Then I looked into the situation. Oh, this is not the way to live a sane life. Therefore, I prayed. That is the prayer. Oh, Ishvara, give me the strength of mind to just disregard this desire. And then the desire has gone from my mind. You examine it, it will go. I became free. There was freedom. Then he comes after me. Come on, you need it, you take it. No, I don't need it. No, you take it. I don't want it. The desire is over now. Now he comes after me, he supplicates me, and finally he makes me agree to do that. Now the desire comes behind me. I don't go behind that. It is all in the mind. You allow the mind to be a slave to the Rajoguna, so you are in trouble. Therefore, that is the problem of desiring. Raga. Raga is attachment and desire. You see, all attachment implies fear. People are afraid. You see, you are about to take a step to go to the market. What a big deal. You just walk a few gullies and you reach the main road and purchase a soap and one toothpaste and come back. That is your market. And for that you are about to start. Somebody sneezes. Oh, he sneezed. Now it's a bad omen. What will happen? What will happen? Bad omen, what bad omen? The soap that you wanted will not be available. That is the bad omen. What is so bad omen about it? How somebody else sneezing is bad omen to you? You see, somebody told me, when you sneeze, the pulmonary system is subject to a kind of agitation, and therefore you sit and relax, drink a cup of water, and then pursue your journey. Therefore, sneezing journey should stop for the person who sneezed, not to the guy who listened to it. So all superstitions. Why superstitions? Because of fear. Why fear? Why fear? Because of desires, because of attachment. Attachment implies a fear. You see, we see parents. Nobody is an exception to that. Everybody is a parent in a way. I am talking about parents. Some people, some fortunate people, they were never parents, therefore they may not have this fear. But parents, they are afraid all the time. They are worried, concerned about their children. The children are doing well, and the children are not concerned. They are happy, go merry. Whereas these old guys sit at home and get worried about the children. Something will happen. Something will happen. Naturally, something will happen. The children have to go through the sukha and dukkha. Suppose God appears before you. Take a boon. Okay, my son, my daughter should not go through any difficulty in life. Suppose you ask the boon. So God said, okay, yes. Now what happens to your son or daughter, you know? They become vegetables, fit for nothing. Therefore, you don't want that to happen. They have to go through the vicissitudes of life. They face their difficulties. You see, one person came to me just to talk with me. What happened to him? His son has loved a lady, a girl, and he wants to get married. Now he says, what will happen to this marriage? I'm not sure what kind of family background for that girl. What will happen to this marriage? Will he be happy in his marriage? I said, why do you worry? He has to worry. He seems to have worried about it and thought about it and concluded that he will be happy in this marriage. That's why he is getting married. He is getting married and he is sure he will be happy in his marriage. And you are worried about his marriage. What kind of worry it is? No, we never know the background, etc., not known whether the marriage will be successful or not. Suppose it is not successful. There are many marriages which are not successful. Suppose it is not successful, what will happen? They will have to go for a divorce. They will go for a divorce and then he will marry some other lady. What is your problem? Certain doors open and then close. And if those door closes, another door will open. Life will move on. They will have to find their way. They are independent human beings, not your children anymore. You sit at home and plan their blueprint of their life and get worried. This is the attachment. This attachment is very painful for parents. And to get rid of this attachment is not easy. It is not easy. It is difficult. Okay, I just described it, but it is not as simple as it is said. Easier said than done. But at least if you know that this is attachment, this is the product of Rajoguna, and I have to overcome it, that is the knowledge, that is the wisdom, that understanding, that is Sattvaguna, that helps you to overcome the Rajoguna. The moment you overcome, it is likely you will fall back into it. But again, when you fall back, again you have to overcome it. Like that, a stage comes when you become more or less sober and quiet, and the attachment will not bother you. At least that much it won't bother you. It will be still there, but it will not be so painful. Therefore, you have to work on the attachment, because all attachment implies fear. You know why? Why attachment implies fear? Anything that you are attached to is transient. The physical objects that you are attached to are transient. The relations that you are attached to are transient. Like you say, she is my beloved. The relationship is transient, people are transient, people come and people go. This man may go, that lady may go, who knows who will go first. Sometimes younger people will go and old people still remain. Sometimes young people remain, old people go. So there is no particular rule that is known to us. There is a design, higher design, which is utterly unknown to us. And somebody says, I know it, he is bluffing. These are all bluff masters. They don't know anything. They are illiterate, I tell you. So, therefore, in a relation, attachment implies fear. Because whatever thing that you are attached to, whether it is sentient or insentient, is transient. You should know it is transient. So, everything is transient. And then fear makes us slaves. You entertain fear, you cannot be a candidate for self-knowledge. Because fear enslaves people. Fear is very bad. It is not good at all. That's why if somebody puts a superstition in your head, puts a fear in your head, and he walks away, he won't be there. You know what people do? They put a fear and take dakshina and go away. Why dakshina? For putting fear. Having put fear, he takes a fee. For putting fear into your head, he takes a fee. There cannot be a bigger injustice than that. You do some service and take some dakshina, it is some meaning in it. And so, spread superstition. And people, they just lap up the superstition. They just take it with so much enthusiasm. Superstition. And they live with it. Whole life they are afraid. And that is not sanity, it is insanity. And you should understand, attachment is different from love. In love, there will be no clinging. That is the yardstick or thumb rule. You see, you say you love such and such, like I love my son. Is it true? You check yourself. Are you trying to cling to him? Then you are not loving. It is not love, it is attachment. No, I am not clinging. He is free, so that I am free. That is love. You keep it. You need not give it up. You need not work against it. Love is divine. Attachment is bondage. Therefore, this is how raga, the attachment, and then its opposite is dvesha. Ragadayaha. Attachment is sweet poison, and dvesha is bitter poison. Both are poison, you know. So, suppose poison is given and it tastes very nice. That is raga. Poison is consumed and it tastes bitter. That is dvesha. Both are poisons. And both have their origin in rajoguna. In fact, dvesha originates from raga. Without raga, without attachment, you cannot have aversion. Sri Krishna described this raga dvesha. These are the twin devils, you know, Chandamunda or Madhu and Kaitapha. These two devils, Sri Krishna described them as wayfare robbers. So, ragadveshau vyavasthitau tauhyasya paripanthinau. Paripanthinau means those who rob the wayfarers. You know, wayfarers will be there. The robbers rob them. We are the wayfarers, you know. The samsara life is a pilgrimage. And so it is a journey. And in our journey, we are robbed by these twin robbers called bandits, called raga and dvesha. They are robbers. What is it that they rob us? They rob us of discrimination, viveka. So what is real and what is unreal? We fail to discriminate. That viveka is robbed. So finally we end up ignorant people and so fall into the bondage of samsara. Therefore, tayorna vashamagachet, Sri Krishna. So you have to be very cautious and be warned that you don't come into the control of these robbers, the raga and dvesha. So once raga and dvesha are in place, dukkadayoye manaso vikaraha. Then comes a variety of states of mind, modifications of mind. Vikara is the modification of mind. So mental states, a variety of them. Very painful states they are, like what? Dukkha, Adishabdena, the Tikakara gave a list of them. So, these are all symptoms of Rajoguna, symptoms of ignorance. Like a person is grieving, grief. You know what grief is? Grief is a symptom of ignorance. Nanu shochanti panditaha. Gita, very first verse. Nanu shochanti panditaha. Panditaha means wise. The wise do not grieve. In the society, this grief has become such a sacrosanct thing that if somebody is not grieving, they find fault with the fellow. Everybody is grieving. Why are you not grieving? Like that. No, I don't want to grieve. No, you should. That is how it is. People are crazy. That is what it is. What else can you say? So, nanu shochanti pandita. One Mahatma, there is a rule, law. Dukkham hi nama prajnaparadha eshaha. Like that there is a vakya somewhere, a prose. So what you call grieving, it is some blemish in your understanding. You fail to understand something, whatever that something is. And because you fail to appreciate it or comprehend it correctly, you end up grieving. Therefore, stop grieving for a while and try to understand correctly, then the grief is gone. Therefore, understanding is sattva guna, grieving is rajoguna. Grief is rajoguna, dukkha. And then harsha. You see, people, this harsha, how to translate harsha? Harsha, excitement due to happiness. I mean, that kind of excitement. So, ecstasy. There is a drug called ecstasy. And exuberance. That's a good word. Thank you. Exuberance. And if it goes a little more, it becomes a paroxysm. You see, people, this happy birthday. So put a candle and a cake. Cake is not a healthy food in the first place. You are not supposed to eat all that slimy thing which is full of sugar. You are going to eat all that what is put on the cake. Is it worth the eating thing? It is loaded with the sugar. And all these wise people are going to eat that. What a thing it is. First of all, that itself is a very wrong thing. And then put a lamp there and you put off the lamp. You have to light a lamp. And put off the lamp. And then a mantra, this happy birthday mantra. Happy birthday to you. This is the mantra. So, and then all of this. Why should you do this? Why not remain silent? You are all supposed to be yogis. Yogis cannot be noisy like that. You should all be silent. Why do you do this? And then they shout, hoo-ha, they shout. Come on. This is called harsha. It is a very crude sign of ignorance. It is the height of crudity. And that is what it is. These have become customs. And therefore this is the customary thing that you have to do. And now somebody adds a mantra to that. Somebody adds some religious color to that. Stand towards east while cutting the cake. Something like that. Something like that. You should have a vegetarian cake. Something like that. Kuch na kuch. Some cultural and sing the song in Sanskrit. Subha Janmadinam Bhavatu Bhuyam Bhavatu Tubhyam, like that, some Sanskrit. What difference it makes whether it is Sanskrit or English? So like that, give a color to that and try to make it sacrosanct. And now you follow it. Now a maverick guy like me comes and questions it, then I become the fall guy. People are just crazy. They are all caught in the web of Rajoguna. So people have to think about it. We have come to the end of the verse. We will continue in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Krishna